Hey guys, a question was raised, and it's actually a very good question, um, of why the General Electric Superthrust series got the name Superthrust. Well, that goes back to the OG. And I had another question asking about how the super thrust mechanism actually works and what makes a unit a super thrust. Well, the unit itself doesn't really make itself a super thrust. How the super thrust feature works on these old GEs is that the super thrust feature is actually built into the control of, the front grill itself. And take a look as I turn it. What it's doing is it's closing half of the air discharge vents so that it gives you, I guess the way to say it, a super thrust of air off of one side, so it basically doubles your output power, thus sending the airflow further out into the room regardless of the high speed. Now I imagine low speed is probably ain't gonna really make much of a difference. But when you're running that bitch on high, that's gonna send that out pretty far. Now I often wonder why they went away from this design, but if I had to guess, maybe they figured with potential the air getting sucked back into the intake from the discharge, maybe it's not a good design. I think it is. I never had a problem with it, and they look cool as hell. Yeah, take a look at how it works. Now this one here, I had to doctor it up a little bit. Now I showed you part of that clip on my last video. This one had some broken fins, so I had to get a little creative here. So this is at the back of the knob, obviously. This piece sits on here, and it just pulls these back, and these are all attached via this plastic clip here, which I actually probably could have had given one to Rob and see if he could have potentially have made replacements for it. But honestly, for now, I think this will be adequate. You're never going to see it, and it's not like it's a feature that people use often, but it's a cool novelty, and it's cool to have it work. I feel like if you're using super thrust, you're probably always going to have it activated. So I mean, having it, being able to be switched out is pretty irrelevant to most people, I would assume. But yeah, it's pretty cool. You got the left and right top, left and right bottom, and I wish they would have given you something to control these from here just to make it look cool, but they did not. You just have to kind of, yeah. There's two different style grills for this. This is the deluxe model. Then you got the more common model to where the super thrust is still right here. Then it's got like a blank plate here. Then you got 3 knobs for the control panel. Still cool looking. That one's also a wood grain. This one here is kind of like a sleek silver, dark brown, and light brown and tan kind of color scheme going on. It's pretty cool. I actually really like it. And the grill goes in with this hook here into a spring-loaded mechanism on the front. It's missing this one, but I think I have one from the parts from Brian Mullins from back in the day in my parts bin. I just have to go look for it. And then this piece here clips onto a groove in the case. Now, when I do a full video of this thing, when I put it all together, I'll show you all that again. Why are the later versions super thrust? Well, they're not at all. They're just a regular, suck in through the evaporator, blow out through the discharge vent air conditioner design that pretty much started and becoming the mainstream in the late 60s, early 70s, and it kind of took off. Now, I guess these were made up, I thought these stopped in the 60s, but apparently these were made up until 1971. So I'd say this is probably a later deluxe model right here. So this one actually might be from the 70s, early 70s instead of the late 60s like I had originally anticipated. I don't really know how to decode the dates on these other than maybe looking up the model number on Google and seeing if an old advertisement comes up. But yeah, the newer super thrust, the more common ones, yeah, they don't really super thrust at all. It's just a regular air conditioner vent. They have no mechanism to give it that extra thrust of air, so to speak. So yeah, that's just a regular chassis design. So really the only units that are really truly super thrust are the OGs. Thanks for watching. Any questions, comments, or concerns, drop a line and let me know. I'd be happy to answer them. I just thought some people would find this to be interesting.